Oh, okay, okay. Sorry. Yeah, I'm working it. I'm coming. Today on Abrasive and Proud of It Live, we talk. Well, as you can see, we've got a table full of Kreg stuff. This simply slides right on, just like that, and gravity holds it in place. Very cool. Next up, we've got the drill guide, as you can see here. I drilled each of the holes, placed a dowel in there, so you can see there's a good fit on all of them. Works well. Adjoining features, and as you can see on the back, there's a 3/4 area and a 1/2 inch area. So what this does is it allows you to seat that 3/4 piece directly on the unit, and then you do the same thing on the other side. It's also durable. Make sure that is butted up tight to your edge. Obviously, normally you want to clamp this down, but for our purposes, then I'm just going to drill out those holes.
Welcome to the Kreg Tool New Tool Smell Wednesday, 1 p.m. Abrasive and Proud of It Live. This is Mike Z in the booth and Chris in the studio. And Chris, I apologize once again, premature clicking on the mouse. Won't happen again. I'll get that fixed.
Sure. Anyway, we had a lot of cool stuff today. Looking pretty excited about this. If you haven't seen the back of our catalog, we have listed most of these new items there. They're also scattered and peppered out throughout the rest of the catalog. And so if you're curious about them, I know you've probably heard some rumblings in the community about this new Kreg stuff. So what we wanted to do was give you a demonstration of each of the products, show you what it does, and not just tell you about it, but give you some actual real life, real world sort of experience with it. So as you saw, I carried in that piece of plywood. Easy peasy. I didn't have to grunt and grumble, and I only knocked over about $10,000 worth of camera equipment and tools and things. But that's okay. How this thing works, it's very simple actually. It's got a pivot point here that is sort of the resting point. Then this collapses down on it, and the more it's kind of like one of those Chinese finger pulls. The more tension you put on it, the more grip it's going to have, and it does a great job. Simply slide your plywood in, and as you can see, once you get that there, it does not let go. Very tight, very secure. I carried that in no problem, and I actually tested this out. I was able to carry 2 sheets of 1/2 inch sheetrock as well, so that worked out pretty well. But definitely a cool thing if you need a nice little plywood carrier, easy to handle. You don't have to worry about lifting up the piece of plywood and sliding something in it like some of those other units that are out there. This is new from Kreg. Check it out. It is the Kreg panel carrier. If you do a lot of sheet goods, you definitely need that. The other item, you might be saying, what the heck is that thing that keeps flopping around in his face? Well, this is the Kreg Drilling Jig. So what I did, I just simply laid it out, and I drilled one size of each hole and wanted to give you an idea of just how simple that is. And this does hold very well. The dowel fits right down in there. You can adjust your depth, obviously, with your bit. I'm going to move this and keep this little 1/8 inch one from wobbling. It's going to drive everybody with OCD nuts. Anyway, so what's neat about this, it does have all of the little details listed. Let me show you this a little close up here. All the numbers listed, very clean and clear. It also has little markings on the side, so you know where the center. It's also got markings on the end, again, so you know where that center mark is. And it's very easy to just simply clamp anywhere you need it and make your drill. Now, we could just drill simple holes like we did here, but what I wanted to do is I wanted to test this feature on the back. What it is it's got 2 recesses, one that's designed for 3/4 inch material and one that's designed for 1/2 inch. So I do have a piece of 1/2 inch here. This actually fits fairly snug, even though Baltic is not quite dead on 1/2 inch, but that's very close. But we all know that 3/4 plywood is not. So what I thought I would do is run you a little demo. So I've got a piece laid out here. I've got piece marked up. The reason being is because 3/4 of an inch, this is not 3/4, so it ends up with just a little bit of slop. So there's a way to work around that. So what I've done, I've already got 3 holes drilled for you. And what I did on the hole is I made my alignment and actually pushed it up from the bottom. And you could obviously do that from the top as well, either way. And then I drilled my hole that way. So that's what I'm going to do on this corresponding piece. And let's see how this thing turns out. Flip this around. My up is there. So I'm going to flush this up on the end. I didn't make any special markings. However, I could have and use this as a reference point. But I'm just going to simply line this up, flush at the end, and drill my hole. Get to the bottom of my tape stop collar. Let's just dump that in the floor. The cleaning guy will get that later. Now, let's flip this back around and let's get our dowels in there. One there, one there. Let's align the front one up, get it started, align the back up, and push it tight. Now, here's what's cool about this is normally you got some unevenness there. Now check this out. No unevenness. So normally you're going to get a little bit of a catch one way or the other when you scoop that across, but nothing. Very cool. So great way to use for not only drilling standardized holes, but also being able to drill in the center of a project that's 1/2 or 3/4, or even if it's not, you can work around it. But a great little jig if you're looking for something to be handy, easy to throw in your nail pouch, in your drawer, great to have around the shop, and it's an all-around good tool to have. So let's keep these here for the moment, because the next item we're going to look at is the shelf pin drilling jig. This is a newer version of what they've had out before, and how this essentially works. You've got a series of holes, just like all traditional shelf pin drilling jigs do. This actually snaps off, so it can be disassembled if needed to be pushed up tight to the top of or bottom of a cabinet. I'm going to slip it back on there just for the sake of me not having to hunt for it later. On the back, you've got built-in tool storage. So you've got your pin that's used for referencing multiple series of holes. You've also got your drill bit with a stop collar, and the stop collar has already been appropriately placed where it needed to go. And you've got your onboard Allen wrench to be able to make sure you can adjust the stop collar. So here's the way we're going to do this. Now I've already got these series of holes already drilled. What you're going to do is you're going to drop that pin in one of those previously drilled holes. Then you're going to drop this right over that pin like that. And I'm going to have to slide this just a little bit because this is 1/2 inch material. So now let's get this bit put into the drill. Just like that. Now, normally you're going to want to push this all the way over, because on the back there is a lip that allows you to rest. Now, this is able to be removed should you need to remove it to be able to do things freely inside a cavity or on side of a panel. But for this case, we want these hinges located, or these shelf pins located a certain distance back. So let's get this back inside that hole. Let's actually go to this one instead. Just drop that down. Again, we're going to push it all the way this way. Normally you would clamp it. For this particular series, we are not. So let's just get this in there where it needs to go and quickly drill our holes out. And this makes very quick work of those shelf pin holes. And when you're done, pull that off. And now you've got a series of shelf pin holes drilled all up and down your cabinet. And you can repeat that as long as you need it. But this way, it gives you the ability to drill those holes on the fly, either before you assemble or after. This can be done just as easily after. If you've got a face frame cabinet, you would simply slide this off. There's a little dovetail keyways there. Pop that off, and you could butt that into the back side of your face frame and do your drilling that way. And then your offset's going to be this much. What's cool is if you've got, and let's put these little attachments back so I don't lose them. What's cool about this is if you have a European style cabinet and you're going to use these European style hinges, you can drill your hinge hole. But when you mount this, typically the hardest part is figuring out how to mount the plates. And so this jig, what this jig allows you to do is to actually use this lip as it was previously installed, like that. Use this lip, and there's a little window here that you can visualize where your marks are. This is the precise distance of the plates, the hinge plates that would be used for your 35 millimeter typical Euro hinges. So this gives you the ideal spacing. So we'll get into this a little later when we start talking about the door, but for now, this is a great little jig if you need something simple to be able to drill your holes, and you don't need anything elaborate like some of those heavy-duty machines that are available. This is a great little portable jig, easy to have in your shop, stick it in the drawer when you're not using it, and you got a way to drill out your shelf pins. Cleaning guy is going to love me. Next item we're going to talk about is the flip driver. This is a new little gadget from Kreg. This locks into place here, and what you'll notice is there's a little brass ring. You simply push that forward, and that allows the entire assembly to be able to be removed. Now, what's cool is on the back of this, there's actual little Allen wrench that's designed to be used with these set screws here to lock the driver and to lock the bit itself in place. So if you need to change this out, that's a handy way to do it. One of the things I hate about most of these type drivers is sometimes the driver will get wedged into the screw, and when you remove your drill, this remains in the screw, not in your drill driver. So this way, this helps ensure this stays with your driver. But this allows you to drive the screw. But what's cool is most of your countersink, counterbore combos, you're going to have a tapered setup here. But since we're talking Kreg, and a lot of people like using this big wide flat head washer to do assembly, what they've enabled you to do now is to drill a hole and have a flat hole as a recess, a flat pocket. So now if we were to, I've already done that here, so let's flip this driver over, and if we wanted to screw one of these, make sure that's in there good. If we wanted to screw that to that, now that screw is recessed below the surface of the board, and you can now do whatever you needed to do. You could go recess a little further and actually put a mushroom plug or something like that on there. But that's an easy, quick way to use if you're using the Kreg pocket screws to actually do assembly for your wood parts. Makes it easy to do, especially if you're looking to be able to tear it down and reassemble it later. So pull that out, and now we're ready to get back to assembly. So this is a quick, easy way to do it. And if you use that, you definitely want this flip driver. It's a great little tool to have with you if you're using those pocket screws for assembly. The next item on the list is the 90-degree driver. I've seen some of the cheaper ones on the market. When you do this, you can hear the gears grinding in this little angle. This is very smooth operating, both forward and backward. What's nice is it gives you this little metal on the metal housing. It gives you a little place to sort of put your thumb. It makes it fairly ergonomic. They also give you a little section here to be able to sort of just guide that in. Traditionally, when you're using these 90-degree drill drivers, what can happen is the first thing it wants to do is that, because there is a bearing in here that's allowing that to move. So this gives you the ability to sort of hold on to that while you get your screw started, and quite a little handy tool. So if you do it where you're doing a lot of tight spots, this little drill driver is a great addition, and it will work with really any drill. Simply mount that in like that, support it, and you're ready to start drilling. So the 90-degree drill driver, worth looking into if you do a lot of installs or you're doing a lot of things in tight spots where it's tough to reach with a traditional drill or driver. That's the way you need to do it. Next item we'll look at that's new are these little the little project pods. Now they've got a rubbery material on both sides to add a lot of grip to prevent parts from moving. I mean, actually, you saw this, and literally it's moving my wooden part instead of sliding across. But what they've done that's a little different is there's a little depressed button right here on the edge. You simply depress that and twist it counterclockwise, and it raises this little nib. And this nib's got a little plastic dimple on the top. And what that does is it allows you to sit your parts up off the workpiece. So if you're doing finish work and you need to put your project on there without doing damage, like you would see using a flat surface like this, this allows you to do that, and you get plenty of airflow to let your painted or finished parts dry a little better. But this is a nice little feature. You depress that button, turn it the other way, and this disappears. Now you've got your standard pod. I like the little shape. They're kind of bulky and blocky. They don't have a tendency that I would feel like they would want to tip over. So if you're looking for a nice little project block to keep your parts working and stable while you're working on them, check out the Kreg project blocks. Now, this is sort of an upgrade to the old HD model that was designed to be used with typical 2x4s, with the 1.5 inch thickness material. Now, what they've done is they've made it now available where you can use it with 4x4s or 3.5 inch material. There's two specific slot locations on the back. One, and you can see clearly here on the front, maybe you can, there's a 3.5 and a 1.5 inch section. And how you adjust that, you depress the plastic piece at the back, you slide it forward, and it engages into the little hole. So you know for a fact when you bring that up to your part, and then you drill, you know that you're designed for that 1.5 inch material. So great little add-on. Now, of course, just like the other, and you might be able to see right in there, there's a little keyway. If you push that and give it a little twist, these come apart and can be used individually, or again, rejoined. Slide that back in, you can feel the snap, and now you've got a double head that you're able to literally set on there, make your 2 holes, and then go about your business. So if you're doing a lot of outdoor projects and you like using the Kreg system, this is a great way to go. The HD kit will come with the unit as well as all of the different accessories that you would need: the driver, the bit, the collar, and the Allen wrench. And what they've also done is they've included this little clamping fixture. So I don't have one of the more traditional clamps in here, but what this does, your clamp head will slide into this, then this will stick into any of these little fixtures. There's a little oblong shaped button on the bottom. You can drop that right down in there like that, mount your clamp, and now it stays mounted to your clamp when you remove your clamp, as opposed to having to fiddle with all of that and try to keep it oriented. So pull that back out. So that's what's included in the HD kit. We also offer replacement bits, stop collars, and Allen wrench. And what else is new on the market with this new system is these new 4-inch screws. These are specially coated, so they're designed for outdoors. And I'll try to make that a little easier to see maybe. They're a little bit wider in the thickness, makes it a lot beefier of a screw, a little wider head. And obviously these are designed for the 4x4 this size products. So if you're doing a lot of fences and posts, or working on credenzas or anything where you're doing a lot of 4x4 material, worth checking out, and jump on this whole new line of the XL Kreg lineup. So any questions on anything so far, Michael?
No, sir. Everything is so fresh and so clean.
All right.
One thing for me though, Chris, is the new feature of how to set the depth on the drill bit for the
Yes.
pocket hole.
Thanks for reminding me about that. So what they've done is they've made this very simple, and they've got 2 etches on here. Let's see if we can't get a closer look. Tell me when that looks good, because I can't see it.
Bring it a little forward. Not yet.
Let me back up and try it again.
Yep. Nope.
All right. Well, there's 2 little circles that are etched on here. One says 1.5, one says 3.5. And there's also a corresponding circle on the top of on the side of the collar. So what you would do is you'd slide your collar over until the 2 circles are perfectly aligned. Then you would tension that down with your Allen wrench, And then if you needed the 1.5, you'd simply move that up to the 1.5 and repeat the process. So very easy to change on the fly, and you don't necessarily have to take the bit out to do it. So if while it's all chucked up and ready to go, this is an easy way to change the bit between the 1.5 and 3.5 inch thickness materials. All right, now what we're going to look at here is I've got an old junk cabinet that came out of my shop, and I built a new door for it, okay? Well, obviously, if we're going to build a door and I'm going to be using Euro hinges, I'm going to have to break out the Craig Hingeboard Jig. Now, this isn't new, but it is something I thought, well, we're already talking about Craig, and I did use it to do this part. I thought maybe I would just discuss some of the things that are some of the benefits and things about this jig. Now, you see these little oblong pieces on the bottom. Those are designed to be that way. They can be completely adjusted from the top using a flat or a Phillips screwdriver. And what these do is they align to a specific point. If I can get this rotated, they align to a specific point so that you keep that set distance across your jig. Now, what that's for is different distances that these European hinge manufacturers say you need to inset the hinge from the edge of the door. And you'd obviously want to check your manufacturer's recommendations for that. But this particular hinge said 5 millimeter. So if you flip this over, there is a 5 listed on here, and there's a line. So I lined the 5 with that line on both ones. And now when you bring this over, this allows you to be the right distance in for drilling those holes. But not only that, there's a tape measure, so to speak, on the front. You would bring this over and align that up with whatever distance you need it to be from the top of your door. Traditionally, you're looking at 3 inches from the top where the opening is. And if you're using a 1/2 inch opening, you would align that with 3.5, push it all the way in, clamp that down, drill your hole, move on to the next. But having that little index here makes that handy and quick for referencing multiple doors. They also include the bit and the collar. Now, what's neat is this, rotate this counterclockwise, this whole assembly comes out. So you can pre-clamp this to your door and then bring the bit to the jig. This has a sort of a cool little 35 millimeter Forstner bit. It does have these little wings, so it cuts clean, cuts smooth. And then this encases the whole thing, and the stop collar obviously gets you set at the right depth. And for this, you will want to make sure you make a few test passes to get this dialed in just right. Then when you're ready, you approach your jig again, turn that clockwise, and everything's locked in place. So I use this Kreg jig, boring jig to do these doors, and that worked out very well. So let's take a look at and see what this would look like. We're gonna hang this door, and I want to show you one of the last tools here. Now, this is the Kreg cabinet door mounting jig. Yeah. Now, what's neat about it is you do have 2 little spacers that allows you to fully adjust just like that. Allows you to fully adjust your height from the jig. Sometimes you need to do, the one is a 1/16 and the other is an 1/8. These are set up just like this. They have these little keyways. Some pull this way, some push that way. They each are numbered 1 through 9. So you'd want to reference the owner's manual for what each of these are. And I believe Mike's got that up on the screen there. And so for our case, we're going to use the number 4, and we are going to we're going to use this on the left-hand side. And so with this right here, I'm going to put my spacers back in, get those in place. And so what we're going to do is we're going to move over, and we're going to actually install the door. I'm going to show you how quick and easy this is. Let me find my 90 degree because I have a feeling I might need that. And what else am I going to need? And that should be good, I think. Yeah, let's go see what that looks like.
All right, well, while Chris does that, we'll take a look at the items that he's been mentioning today and the cost. So the panel carrier is item number KR03000, 1995. By the way, a lot of these are not on the web yet because they're so new. So therefore, if you would like them, just give us a call, 800-228-0000, and ask for these item numbers. They are in stock. Next we have is the drill guide. So therefore 6 hardened steel drill guide areas, 1/8 to 1/2 inch with that Grip Max anti-slip coating. The drilling guide block is KR06000. And then we also have the shelf pin jig, KR03200. These are $39.99. By the way, I think that the $9.99 price on that drill block is just incredible. It's something you can throw in every toolbox by far. Not a problem. Also, a little up close view there of the side indentions that Chris was mentioning earlier. The multi-purpose project blocks. These are grip max as well, hexagon shape, so it won't roll. Convenient 1.5-inch height, 200-pound capacity, and contains 4 pucks. These are $20 each. Item number KR10955. The right angle pocket driver. This is KR00090, $24.99. And now what Chris is going to be showing you today, which is if you've ever done any kind of door installation, this is a game changer. So you can attach the doors while holding the door in place with one hand. So that's amazing. And then you can also perfectly use the micro adjust shims to, get it exactly where you want it to be. $29.99, I think, is a steal for this because of how much time it'll save you if you're just a one person who's installing doors. But the item number on this one is KR11044.
Okay, so before we get into this cabinet, because it's a little tight to see in there, what I was telling you earlier about the offset to be able to drill for your hinge plate, these are set up precisely for the right orientation for that. And as you can see, that works out really well. So you can literally butt that into the outside and it will drill at the appropriate distance back. You can also remove this arm again, and there is a center point in here, so you could draw your line and get a center point on from the side or from the top or bottom. But either way, this gets you the right orientation and the right distancing for drilling your holes. So if you're doing those Euro style that doesn't have the little lip on the hinge plate, this is a great way to do it. And it's just one more way to use this Kreg shelf pin drilling jig. So it does more than just drill the side panels. It allows you to really set your doors and stuff up for your cabinetry. So what we've got here is we've got a sort of an old shop cabinet that I ripped out of my neighbor's garage and decided that I was going to keep it. And so how these will work, let me get this out of the way, is because of this little L-shaped lip and these little gripper pads, you're going to lay this on the shelf of the cabinet. You're going to bring this over and you're going to give yourself a little space right in here. You don't need much, but just a little bit. And then you're just going to use a traditional Kreg clamp to clamp that down. Now this is clamped to the cabinet. Make sure that's on there firm, and it is. And you're going to rest your door here. So these spacers will make a difference depending on your layout. For mine, I know that I need number 4 and I need both spacers engaged like that. And then I'm going to sit my door, make sure I got a screw lined up here. I'm going to sit my door right on this plate, just like that. I'm going to push my hinge plates all the way back. Now you're not going to see this. I'm going to run a screw into the top plate, just like that. Now let's go take a more detailed look at the bottom. So when you're normally hanging doors, the biggest problem is getting them oriented just right up and down whenever you're installing them. What this jig does is it maintains the same height across all of your doors. So when you do this on all of your lefts and do this on all of your rights, what this does is it helps the bottom of your doors be consistently down from the top and or the bottom of your cabinet, which is crucial when you're installing because you want that nice consistent reveal below your doors. So now all we would need to do, if I can get my eyeballs in here, is simply drill the bottom plate, and this door is hung. Now, if you're in a tight spot, maybe you didn't have this much space and you needed to be able to get in there and do this same thing, well, that's where the 90-degree drill driver would come into play. So this has got a nice little long driver. You could obviously shorten that. So I'm going to mount my screw on there like this. I'm going to come in at it just a little bit from an angle. And as you can see, this will make quick work of it. It went in fast and easy, and I was able to do it with minimal effort. That 90-degree drill driver would certainly come in handy for drilling in for your, think about drilling your drawer hardware for your drawer runners and things like that. Very handy. I've been in a lot of places where I've had to hand tighten things in. I really could have used something like that. So that is the Kreg 90-degree and the cabinet door installation jig. Now, we can close this door, make our necessary adjustments, and fix any bumps that we might have. But essentially, that's how this is going to work. And as you can see, the new door is hung. And I don't like that chamfer on it. I think I'll take it back and round it over. But anyway, so if there's any questions on any of the new Kreg products, certainly let us know. I hope this was helpful and informative, and if it wasn't, it's all Mike's fault.
I'll take the blame for that. So make sure you check out woodworkingshop.com. In the future, we'll have all these products on there. 800-228-0000 to order them. We'll have all of the item numbers in the description below of everything that Chris has shown today. And then if you also have any questions on further details, check out sales at woodworkingshop.com. The graphic that we had up there for how to set up the drill guide is actually in the instructions. So therefore you'll receive a copy of that when you purchase it. But yep, and that's very true. It is always Mike's fault whenever it comes down to it. I'll take it. So, yep. And if you have any questions or any products that you'd like to see in the future, by all means, let us know.
Yep.
And then we can make videos on that. So,
and we've got plans of doing more comparison videos and product videos. But since we launched so many new Kreg items, we felt like now was the time to just jump on this and let you guys see what they were all about. And obviously, like I said, they're not on the web yet, but they are certainly available. So feel free to call and we'll get that order placed for you.
Absolutely. So thank you so much for joining us for Abrasive and Proud of It Live, Wednesday, 1 p.m. Join us tomorrow at 1 p.m. for Turn Master Chris. We'll be having traditional wood turning tools. You don't want to miss that.
Well, I want to, but I can't. So, but that's okay. I enjoy hearing him talk about wood turning. So we'll stick through it.
Thank you so much for joining us, Chris.
Well, you know, he doesn't like sitting through mine, so it kind of works out equal that way.
Someone's got to push the buttons. All right, gentlemen, thank you again for watching, and we hope you have a great day.
Hey, wouldn't you like to have this, Craig? We'll see you later.